supporting you in your dog parenting journey. The Dynamic Dog Owner with Debbie Potter.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Dynamic Dog Owner, the podcast designed to support you, the dog parent, in your dog parenting journey. If you haven't listened to the podcast before, there are so many episodes that you can listen back to, all with a different theme, different focus, guests. There are loads of them. If there's any topic you would like me to cover that isn't on the list, do feel free to let me know, pop it in the comments and say I'd like to hear about this, and I can absolutely look at recording an episode on that topic. Let me know what you like. There's lots of different episodes we have. So we've got obviously me nattering, we've got guest episodes, we've got sort of conversational ones with me and our other trainer Tash. There's loads of different episodes. Let me know what you like about the podcast, which ones you want to hear more of, and if there's anything you go, that was rubbish, I really didn't like it, let me know, because obviously this podcast is designed to help and support you, and therefore we want to make sure that we're producing the content that you enjoy. So do feel free to give us some feedback and let us know what you like. As always, we don't talk about sort of direct training advice because it's very individual to you, and there's so much direct training advice out there. We do have our Potter Academy online training community where you can get 3 days free access. Look at the description and there'll be a link there where you can sign up for 3 days of our training community, where you can see pre-recorded videos and have live Q&As with the team. So this week's episode, I thought I had a little realisation this week, and I went, gosh, I didn't realise that. And sometimes I think we just need to stop and take check. We have, it's about expectations really. So we have expectations, and sometimes we go, oh, my dog's failed at that, or we didn't meet their expectation. But I think we sometimes forget all the little things that mean we did actually meet that expectation in other ways. So let me kind of expand a little bit. Years ago, so anyone who listens loads, you know I've got 3 dogs, Dave, Rem, Fred. Fred is the youngest, he's just turned 4. I got Fred as a puppy, he's a golden retriever, with the specific view to be an emotional support assistance dog for my daughter. So my daughters are both autistic. One finds going out the house really, really challenging. Public is hard, and it would be lovely for her to be able to take her dog everywhere with her, and him to be able to come places, because dogs are obviously, as we know, dogs make us very happy. And our middle dog, Rem, is fantastic in terms of that he would go anywhere. He just can't settle in places because he's a bit of an emotional wreck himself. So he does the job in certain ways, but I just thought it'd be really lovely to have a dog that I can really just go, you are bomb-proof, you can come with us anywhere, and have him trained up that he could help her access the world a little bit more. So obviously that was the view to getting him. That was his goal. That was my goal from the beginning. And as a puppy, he came everywhere with us. Everywhere we went, he went. He was the most relaxed, chilled out puppy I've ever had. Nothing really fazed him. He would sit and watch the horses go by at horse riding lessons. He would go to farms and not be bothered. He would watch everything, anyone, go to restaurants, walk around garden centres, whatever, anything. He was fine. He took it all in his stride. Perfect. And I was like, this dog, amazing. He's going to be fabulous. Then came adolescence. The joys of adolescence. If you're a puppy owner and you haven't been through this yet, just hold on tight, it's coming. Generally speaking, adolescence is a tricky time. So adolescence came, and suddenly Fred was a very, very nervous character, easily startled by stuff, barking at things. He just likes to chat. That came about in adolescence. He didn't chat as a puppy, but likes to chat, so he has very communicative barking. And generally, he found the outside world suddenly incredibly overwhelming. And that's when you kind of go, oh, my plans are not necessarily there. And it surprised me, because as a puppy, he was really chill. Equally, you know, there's lots of arguments that I probably haven't done enough with him to get him where I want him to be, because I run a business. I have 2 autistic kids at home who don't go to school because they're home educated. I have 3 dogs. life's busy, quite simply. And although I wanted to dedicate a lot of time to his training, life got in the way. So I probably didn't do as much with him as I should have done in that adolescence phase. But we took the pedals off completely and kind of took pressure off and went, okay, let's just leave you be. Let's see what you become. Now he's just turned 4. He's still barky. He's still startled. He's still a bit of a nervous wreck outside, but it's lessening, which is nice. And I've always kind of just gone, oh, well, that never worked, did it? And I've kind of written him off and gone, he can never do that job that I wanted him to do. He can't come everywhere with us that I planned for him to do. And I kind of just go, well, that was the view of getting him. Hasn't worked out. Oh, well. And I think it's very, very easy to think that and just go, well, that was a failure. I was a failure. I did it wrong. I haven't done what I wanted to do. Obviously, we have to remember that dogs are individual characters, and although we buy them with a specific role in mind, they are entitled to be who they want to be. And I would never have forced Fred to do it. I just think, partly I go, it's obviously his character isn't quite right now. It might change in the future. But right now, his character and his confidence, etc., isn't there. Is that because of me? Is that because I didn't put enough effort in with him? Is it because I didn't train him hard enough? I'll never know the answer to that question. But I do go, it probably was. And it's really easy to say, I failed, or that hasn't worked out, and to be really negative. But something obviously we talk about a lot in training is focus on the positives. Focus on the things they can do, not the things they can't. Now, obviously, it's very easy for me to give that advice to people, but to take it on board myself, very, very different kettle of fish. We all know it's easy to give advice, sometimes really hard to take that advice, especially when you're emotionally involved. But I had a little realisation this week, and I just thought I'd share it with you guys on the podcast because I think it helps other people on their journey, and hopefully it does. I focus on the fact that Fred can't be accessing the world. He can't go out to the big wide places that I want him to in the big wide world. Therefore, he's a failed emotional support dog. And he's a lovely boy. He's such a lovely character. Love him. But I had a little thought this week, and I went, do you know what? He hasn't failed in this job at all, because he does the job. He does the job for us at home. And I'd forgotten, or I hadn't, I'm going to get emotional, it's really silly. I hadn't given him enough credit for how much he does at home. And I think he's only just take it for granted that he's in the house. He's not a failed emotional support dog in the slightest, because he does so much in our home that it just gets overlooked. He is so chilled, for one, at home. He is very easy to relax. He settles down. He'll happily not go for a walk all day. He'll sleep all day. He's very cuddly, very affectionate. But there's 3 things at home he does that actually change our life and improve the lives of everyone in our home. And I hadn't given them enough credit, because we naturally as people focus on the bad. So those 3 things I realised this week are, 1, he helps my daughter get out of bed every morning, because getting out of bed is a really, really hard task for her. At one point a few years ago, it was an impossible task and it didn't happen. But now she gets out of bed happy, majority, she's a teenager, okay, so let's put that caveat out there. Majority of the mornings, she gets up and out of her bed easily, happily. Why? Because Fred wakes her up. Simple task that I have completely overlooked in my life. Fred goes into her bedroom, he climbs on her bed, he happily just sits next to her, puffing and panting. I can encourage her to give him a little stroke, and she wakes up smiling. That is priceless, and that is a game changer in her life, in my life, in our lives. Fred wakes her up. Something that I have just gone, he always follows me in the room, comes in with us. It's not important, but it has a massive impact on every day. And I had not recognised that. The other task, my other daughter, he helps stop meltdowns or prevent them or stop them mid-flow. Again, something I had completely taken for granted. I'm not saying the other dogs don't do it too, but he does it the best, because Rem just is a chaotic boy in himself. He makes people laugh, and when he's in a good mood, he's fabulous, but when he's like a Jekyll and Hyde. When he's in an arsehole mood, he's not great. And Dave's not really very affectionate. Fred is always up for cuddles. So if I ask him to, he will always come and cuddle somebody. We call it an up cuddle. You ask him for a cuddle, he jumps up and puts his arm around your waist. It's really cute. But he'll always sit next to you on the sofa. He'll happily get on your lap. If I ask him to, or if a child asks him to, he jumps up on their lap. And that instantly makes everyone happy, calm. It's deep pressure therapy. They get to stroke him, so it's a sensory experience. And he's so goofy that he makes people smile. And that instantly can prevent a meltdown or end a meltdown. Again, something I had completely forgotten about. That he has that power. And you go, blimey, okay, you're doing a really good job here, mate. Again, I hadn't given him enough credit for how much he helps, because all I'm seeing is what I expected, not what I've got. And the third and final thing, this is maybe going to be a short episode, I don't know, because I don't know how much there is to talk about this, but without me getting emotional anyway. The final thing, and if you follow us on Instagram, you'll see that I shared a photo of this, and that's when I had that realisation moment. My daughter struggles with her therapy sessions. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like therapy. She finds it awkward. She finds it weird. She does it online at home. I have to sit with her, which is fine. She's happy for me to do so. But what makes it better? The fact that Fred will come and lay on the bed next to her the whole time. We don't ask him to. He just goes, you need me. And up he comes, jumps on the bed and just lays there, calm, relaxed, presence, happy, sleeping next to her. The others don't. Well, if they do, it's not a calm presence if it's REM. Sometimes it is, but if he's in the right mood. Dave, again, would get bored after 2 seconds and leave. Fred will lay there the entire time, chilled out. With having strokes, with just sitting, he'll lay up next to you, so you've got that little bit of deep pressure. Again, not something I ask him to do. He just reads the room and does it, which means therapy sessions are easier because he's there. Obviously, if we can access therapy, we can feel better about ourselves. So those are 3 tasks that I realised this week he does for me on a regular basis. Or not for me, but for our family. And that improves our family's life. And that's what an emotional support dog is all about, right? Making life a little bit easier. And I feel really bad that I'd overlooked those things because, again, we take things for granted. We don't see what's sometimes right in front of our nose. We only focus on the negatives, the things our dogs can't do or where they haven't met our expectation. We don't focus on the really important little tiny things that are so small but massive in terms of their progress, how they help us and achieving a task. So I'm going to reframe my mindset now. And I'm really pleased that I came to the realisation. Sometimes you need someone else to tell you, but I did it myself. But I'm really pleased that now I can say he didn't fail. He's just doing the bits he can do. So inside the house, he is the best support ever. Outside, we've got work. But he's only just reached adult maturity. So there's so many more years that he has room to improve in the outside area. But even if he doesn't, even if he never does, he provides that help and support at home that is just as valuable and just as important. So obviously very, very personal kind of episode today in terms of, I did well up. I don't know if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that I had a few tears in my eyes. But it's more about that. Transfer it to yourself. Obviously, you may be in a similar situation, you may not be, but we always focus on that negative. My dog hasn't done that, can't do this, can't do this. What can they do? What can they do? What do they do that is brilliant, but because it's there, we just take it for granted. So stop and have a little, my challenge for you today is stop and have a little think. Don't focus on the negatives, but what does your dog do that is amazing? That helps you, that you never thought they'd achieve, that they can do. Focus on all those positives because those are the things we need to focus on, the things we can already do, the things we've already achieved, not what we can't do, what we can do, what we've already done, because remember, success builds success. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. If you've got any questions, if you've got any comments, as always, like, comment, share. If you feel it resonated with you or it might resonate with someone else, feel free to share it with them. As always, it'd be lovely to have, the podcast episodes going out to more people and hopefully them finding them beneficial. Have a wonderful week, and I'll catch up with you really soon. If you love listening to the podcast, why not check out the Potter Academy for practical dog training advice and how-to videos. The hub is broken down into sections, and hundreds of pre-recorded videos are there for you to start watching whenever you choose. You can watch them back as many times as you like. You also get to talk to other community members and discuss your training and benefit from live Q&As with myself where you can get your questions answered. Why not make use of our 3-day free trial where you can access all of the content on the hub absolutely free for 3 days. The link is in the description below, so do check that out, and I can't wait to see you in the hub.
Thank you for listening to The Dynamic Dog Owner with me, Debbie Potter. See you next time.